taxi drivers were the first to go out onto the streets in protest, closely followed by students and teachers. To make matters worse, on February 25th, soldiers and officers of the 2nd Infantry Division mutinied in Eritrea, seizing control of Asmara, the regional capital. Faced with mounting unrest, the imperial administration scrambled to implement reforms. Petrol prices were partially reduced, soldiers' pay was increased by 20%, and controversial education reforms were shelved. However, these measures failed to calm the growing storm. On February 27th, Emperor Haile Selassie convened a joint session of the Imperial Crown Council and the Ministerial Council to address the crisis. But the meeting was interrupted by the news that the 4th Division, Ethiopia's largest and most elite military unit, had joined the mutiny. Prime Minister Haile Selassie, unable to manage the crisis, resigned alongside his cabinet. In a desperate bid to restore stability, the emperor appointed General Abiy Abebe, a loyalist and son-in-law, as the new prime minister. Yet the military rejected this decision, forcing Selassie to name Liege Ndalkachi Makanen, an experienced diplomat and former Ethiopian envoy to the United Nations, as the new head of government. The new prime minister announced sweeping land reform measures and attempted to enforce a nighttime curfew, banning strikes and demonstrations. Yet these efforts were largely ignored. At the beginning of April 1974, rumors of a military coup began to circulate throughout Addis Ababa. These whispers gained credibility when a leaflet, authored by a group calling themselves Elements of the Armed Forces, was distributed across the city. Calling for the arrest of former Prime Minister Haile Selassie and his former cabinet, the leaflet concluded with an ominous threat. If the demands were not promptly met, the military would take decisive action to enforce them. Subsequently, a specially convened military council met with Haile Selassie to press for the arrest, but on both occasions, the emperor resisted their demands. The military, however, would not be deterred. Determined to act, they marched into the Jubilee Palace and arrested Haile in the presence of the emperor. Within days, the entire cabinet of Haile's government was detained, along with hundreds of Ethiopia's top political figures. These arrests were publicly justified as being conducted in the name of the emperor. However, Haile Selassie's silence during this period was deafening, as he neither defended his former ministers nor objected to their detention. Following this, Lieutenant General Abebe Gameda, the commander of the imperial bodyguard, took it upon himself to confront the brewing rebellion. One evening in April, at approximately 9 p.m., General Abebe visited the home of Ras Asarat to share his concerns.